Sir William Shakespeare, a famous playwright and a dramatist, was born at Stratford in 1564. He was married very early in his life, left Stratford for London in 1586, where he resided till 1609, joined an actors' company there, subsequently acquiring an interest in the Globe Theatre. His own dramatic writings were done between 1501 and 1612. He is credited with 37 plays altogether, of which only 16 were published before his death, and he wrote a memorable series of sonnets. The last 5 years of his life were spent at Stratford, where he died in 1616. Shakespeare reveals himself the development of his mind in his plays. It is out of place to consider autobiographical details when we are dealing in his dramas with the fortune, thoughts, and expressions of other persona. But the general character and tendency of the dramas themselves, we mark out that there is a definite development of Shakespeare's mind. We can divide his career life into 4 parts. His first period is called In the Workshop, when Shakespeare was learning his trade as a dramatic craftsman. This period is marked by delight in beauty and a quick enjoyment of existence. But we do not find Shakespeare showing the fullness of knowledge of life or the complete mastery of the resources of blank verse that he afterwards attained. To this period are assigned the first part of Henry VI, the second and third part of Henry VI, Richard III, Love's Labour's Lost, The Comedy of Errors, The Two Gentlemen of Verona, Midsummer Night's Dream. Possibly the tragedy of Romeo and Juliet also belongs to this period. The second period is called In the World. In this period, Shakespeare gets some experience of human life. The early plays are light and fanciful rather than real and massive. But now, Shakespeare's imagination began to lay hold of real life. He acquired a knowledge of the world and the people living in it. His plays began to deal in an original and powerful way of matter of history. The dramas of this period are stronger, deeper, and more powerful in character. The dramas that belong to this period are as under Richard III, King John, the first and second part of Henry IV and Henry V, The Merchant of Venice, The Taming of the Shrew, The Many Wives of Windsor, Much Ado About Nothing, As You Like It, Twelfth Night. The third period can be considered as the period of sadness and philosophical contemplation. Shakespeare suffered most in his mind and wrote his best plays. Private misfortunes weighed heavily upon his heart, and he gave vent to his feelings of sorrow in his plays. His son was dead. His father died probably soon after Shakespeare had written his Twelfth Night. His friend had deserted him. Whatever the cause may have been, it is quite clear that the poet bade farewell to the tales of myth and love. He was now feeling depth of sorrow in his heart, and he tried to ventilate those feelings in his dramas. He was now going to study the great problem of the mystery of evil. In King Lear, there is Cordelia, an embodiment of self-sacrifice. In Macbeth, there is Banquo. Still in this period, Shakespeare's genius left the bright surface of the world and was at work in the very heart and center of darkness of human life. The following great tragedies belong to this period: Julius Caesar, Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, Macbeth, Antony and Cleopatra, Timon of Athens, All is Well That Ends Well, and Mayer for Mayer are the famous plays of the third period. All these plays deal with the dark side and the gloomy passion of human life and character, and it has therefore been surmised that they are the outcome of a period of gloom and sorrow in the poet's life. Shakespeare paints the vices and follies of man and woman, their sins and passions, their sorrows and misfortunes, and their weaknesses and strength. The dark clouds which had overcast the horizon of Shakespeare's life in the third period slowly and gradually lighten and roll away. Once more, the sky becomes quite clear. The day of gloom and suffering pass away. The poet comes out successful out of the furnace of affliction and suffering, a better and a wiser man than before. The fourth and the last period can be called as the period of calmness and serenity. Now, he can simply laugh at this life of ours which is so sweet and at the same time so bitter. He has now acquired a tranquility of soul, calm and peace of mind, which is no longer disturbed by worldly waves. The spirit of these last plays is that of serenity, which results from fortitude and from the recognition of the weakness of human nature. All of them express a deep sense of the need of repentance and the duty of forgiveness. They all show a delight in youth and the loveliness of youthful joys, such as one feels who no longer desires to have them. A supernatural element is present in these plays. Shakespeare's faith seems to have been that the gods preside over our human lives and fortunes, and that they are always beneficent and divine and try to help us by means of oracles. Shakespeare, no doubt, emerges from the valley of darkness, jealousy and hatred, meanness and flattery, ungratefulness and disobedience, misfortunes and tragic mysteries, terrors and crimes and murders to shine on the glorious heights where peace and beauty dwell, and where music, moonlight, and feeling are one. Truly, Professor Dowden called this period of Shakespeare's dramatic career as the period of On the Heights. To this period belonged to the beautiful romantic plays. His most famous plays, The Tempest, The Winter's Tales, these dramatic plays mark the close of Shakespeare's dramatic work. No Elizabethan theatres were exactly alike, and we cannot be certain of all the details, but in essential, this was the sort of stage for which Shakespeare wrote his plays. Whether a play was to be acted in an inn-yard, at the Royal Court, at the Globe, at an indoor theatre like the Blackfriars, or in some local hall during a provincial tour, these were the basic conditions in which it would be performed.